10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. For a man who died aged just 35, Mozart made an astonishingly rich contribution to music. Operas, symphonies, string quartets, church music, all these were deeply enriched by the incomparable genius and personality of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. But perhaps the one medium which might be said to be closest to his heart, and which in a sense he virtually invented, is the piano concerto. In this series, we'll be hearing 6 of them, carefully chosen from different periods of Mozart's life. They'll be played by the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra under their principal conductor, Yerzy Maksimiuk. And in each case, the soloist will be of the age that Mozart was when he wrote the concerto. Between the ages of 11 and 35, his last year, he wrote no fewer than 27 piano concertos, and they really chart the development of the form as well as the development of the composer. We're going to begin with Mozart's very first piano concerto, K37 in F, written in 1767 when he was only 11. Young Wolfgang, with his parents and sister, had just returned home to Salzburg after a mammoth 3-year trip all round the important cities and musical centres in Northern Europe. They'd been to London, Paris, Vienna, Versailles, everywhere. Everywhere they'd been, the reaction to the children had been one of astonishment and admiration, and Wolfgang in particular had been made to perform in front of royalty and the aristocracy, and he'd made spontaneous music with the various composers that he'd met on his travels. In fact, many of these adult composers were very important to Mozart. In London, for instance, he met Johann Christian Bach, son of the great Johann Sebastian, and he introduced him to both the piano sonata and the symphony. That's why it was in London that Mozart wrote his own first symphonies. His first piano concertos were in fact orchestral adaptations of some keyboard sonatas by German composers that he'd met in Paris. And this first piano concerto in F is an astonishingly fluent and delightful composition, showing Mozart's supreme gifts as an entertainer and as a composer already familiar with his forces. Well, we're going to hear this concerto played by Alexander Boyd, who, like Mozart, is 11 years old. Hello, Alexander.
Hello.
Is this your first piano concerto performance?
Yes.
How long have you been playing the piano?
3 years and a half.
Is that all?
Yes.
Now, what sort of music have you played up until now in the last 3 years? What have you been playing if you haven't been playing concertos?
Oh, I've played some Chopin, lots of Mozart beforehand, some fantasies by Mozart, and sonatas.
Is he one of your favourite composers, do you think?
Well, they're all my favourites.
Yeah.
I like them all.
If you had to choose just one composer, who would it be?
Mozart, I suppose, and Beethoven.
What do you think about Mozart's life when he was a boy of your age? I mean, would you like to have been that sort of kid?
No.
It sounds extraordinary.
He very extraordinary, but must also have been very tiring.
Yeah.
And very hard.
Now, I gather you also do a bit of composing, don't you?
Yes. Some I've done a few. I've just started composition with a teacher.
And what sort of pieces do you write?
Well, I like to write fast ones.
All for the piano, are they? For yourself?
Yes, so far. I've only just started, so I'm going to try some other ones soon.
Yes. And how do you compose? Do you have a go at the piano and then write it down, or do you do it all away from the piano?
No, I get the tune and then test it out and then write it down.
Yeah.
If it's all right.
So how many pieces have you written? Can you say off the top of your head?
15.
Really?
13.
That's in
12.
how many years? Just 1 year, 2 years?
About 4 months.
Oh gosh, that's a lot. Have you been doing anything
They're
else?
so short. They're very short.
And would you think is composition something you want to develop?
Yes, I'd like to.
Start writing for other things?
Yes, I'd like to keep it going.
So this is your first time probably in Scotland, is it?
Yes.
And your first time with an orchestra?
Yes.
And therefore the first concerto?
Yep.
And I'm sure it's not the last. Well, jolly good luck, Alexander.
Thank you.
We'll really be looking forward to this very much.
Thank you.
So, here is Alexander Boyd with the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra conducted by Yerzy Maksimiuk, playing Mozart's Piano Concerto in F, K37. Alexander Boyd, with the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra conducted by Yerzy Maksimiuk, playing Mozart's Piano Concerto in F, K37. Well, that was written in 1767, when Mozart was 11. And in the following year, he wrote his first complete opera, La Finta Semplice. So, before he'd even entered his teens, Mozart had travelled widely and written symphonies, concertos, and opera. In the next programme, we'll hear his first original piano concerto, that is, one not based on music by other people, but entirely his own. In the meantime, here is the overture to that remarkable first opera, La Finta Semplice.
you.